Good morning. My name is Reverend Lezli Goodwin, and it is my honor to be your speaker today. Hi, sweetie. My little buddy back there. Hi. So we've been working on our book of the month all month long, Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements. And for a lot of us who've been in this teaching or this sort of spiritual lifestyle for a long time, it's not our first time through this book because it's a new thought, new classic, right? The first week we were reminded to be impeccable with our word, both outwardly through what we share, what we speak, avoiding gossip, and also on the inside, the self-speak, how we talk to ourselves, the stories we tell. On the second week, we talked about, what did we talk about? Oh, come on, I know at least some of you were here. Taking nothing personally, even if you forget what you're talking about on stage. Don't take it personally. Which can be so hard when you've got a story going in your mind, right? I know what happened, I know why she said that, I know what it means, and it's obviously about me. Oh. This week, we're talking about don't make assumptions. Yeah, I hear from the crowd. Oh, don't make assumptions. In fact, Don Miguel Ruiz says that all of the sadness and drama you have had in your life was rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally. Ooh, take that in. That's an oof one, right? Oh. All the sadness and drama you've had in your life was rooted in making assumptions and then taking them personally. Luckily, there's a route out, and we're going to take it. And that is that we are at choice. We have a human tendency to take things personally, to not be terribly impeccable with our word, and to make assumptions, but we don't have to live that way. We have a choice. So I want to put this great picture up that I saw. Isn't this a great picture? And so I invite you to just ask yourself, what's going on here? Who's this person? What's going on? What's on that phone? What's the story? She's having a good day. There's a funny picture on the phone. Who thought there was a funny picture on the phone? Who thought that this person was sharing a meme? If it was one of my kids that would be sharing a meme, who thinks they know who that person is? At least one person laughed pretty hard. It's not my daughter, but it really looks like her, doesn't it? It's part of why I picked this image. Where's this person at? Park, university. Is there someone on the other side of that phone? Texting, video chatting, I heard. It's a girlfriend, it's a boyfriend, it's a friend. It's her mother, that's right. She's that happy because she's speaking to her mother. That's correct. We laugh, and it's good that we laugh. But we see things like this all the time, and right away, the story starts forming, right? And how interesting is it that your story was so different than your story? Over here, somebody thought she was sharing a funny meme. Somebody over here thought she was embarrassed. Over here, we had a girlfriend. Over there, we had a boyfriend. This person is getting around, dating a lot of people, apparently. We're either at a park, at a university, or in the yard, or downtown. I don't know where there's the green downtown, but I kind of want to go there. Somebody said she's in California. I'm guessing because there are kind of what might be palm trees in the background, though we have those here too. I heard a lot of she. We don't know that. We don't know that this person identifies as a she. Oh, right? The world is really complicated, and everybody comes from different perspectives and different ideas, and we can't know. I happen to know because they might be a they, absolutely. Because this looks so much like my daughter, Lauren, we were talking about it at home, and that's the face she makes when something has gone terribly wrong. And she's just found out about it, and it's, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to handle this. So when I see this picture, I think this person just got bad news and is trying to frame how they're going to move forward with it. But again, it's not my daughter. I don't know what's going on with this person. And neither do you. But we think we do. Now, we joke about it in this room, and we can because, I'm talking, and therefore there will be joking. But we're doing this all the time. All the time. Every day, everything we see, everything we hear about, we are putting in the details that we don't have, that we don't even know that we don't have, because we don't know that we don't have them. Breathe that in for a minute. We don't even know we're doing it. So how do we stop making assumptions if we don't know we're doing it? So today's talk is really centered on 3 awarenesses that can help insulate us from making the kinds of assumptions that create, what he said? All the sadness and drama you ever had in your life. Seems like it would be worth some effort to try to let go of all the sadness and drama we ever had in our life, right? So I tried to find a really great way to sum this up that was faster and cleaner than what Don Miguel Ruiz said, and I just couldn't do it. So I'm going to share literally exactly what he said. It's very interesting how the human mind works. We have the need to justify everything, to explain and understand everything in order to feel safe. We have millions of questions that need answers because there are so many things that the reasoning mind cannot explain. It's not important if the answer is correct. Just the answer itself makes us feel safe. This is why we make assumptions. And if they don't tell us something, we make assumptions to fulfill our need to know and to replace the need to communicate. Even if we hear something and we don't understand, we make assumptions about what it means and then believe the assumptions. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are the truth. We could swear they are real. Okay, you do this if you've ever heard yourself say something like, well, any reasonable person would understand that. Everybody knows. Well, obviously, the right answer is we've made assumptions, and we do it all the time. And it's okay. Let us off the hook a little bit because assumption number 1, or awareness number 1, reminds us that it's not our fault. It's not your fault. Does it not feel better to know that? It's not your fault that you do this. Our brains are literally built this way. So awareness number 1 is I don't have all the information. We never have all the information. Ever. Even if we ask, we can't have it all. And our brains are designed to fill in the details that aren't there. Now this is because too much is happening all the time. Too much is happening all the time. We only actually absorb about 10% of what's really going on because our brains can't process the information fast enough. So our brains pick out what they think is important and encode that. And then the pattern recognition part of our brain that's designed to fill in and understand the patterns of life just puts the rest of the details in. And we don't know it's happening. So if I scan this room, I see faces I know. I see Karen. I know Karen Ruiz and Mark. I see Bonnie. I see Dawn. I see Lori. Okay, I see my cute little friend in the back row. And my brain, if I were to close my eyes right now, I would say, okay, I know Mark is right there. Mark Haldern is right there because he always sits in the same chair. Marty, Nancy, Tom, these are people who tend to sit in the same places. Wilkersons. Yeah? Yep. Mister's back there. I hugged you all today. I know who's here. And yet, only the really obvious ones are there. And then, I think I only named people who are actually here, but if I had pointed at certain chairs, I might have said, okay, I know Jackie Kimmer's right there, because usually that's where Jackie is, but she's not there today. And my brain did not absorb that. My brain just started putting in the people who are supposed to be in the chairs they usually sit in. We're all doing it all the time. So only about 10% of what you think you actually saw. The rest of it is your brain filling in. Then we have inattention blindness. So our brain has a preference of what is interesting. It's usually what's different, but sometimes it's just what's its favorite. So Dawn's singing today. Dawn is a dear friend of mine and a singing partner with me, and we've known each other for years and years, and we're good friends. I was very aware and caught up in Dawn's music. I have no idea what was happening in the actual sanctuary while Dawn was singing. Somebody could have fallen over, and I wouldn't have even seen it. There are these great videos where you're supposed to count the balls as they pass back and forth, and the gorilla will walk through, like a man in a gorilla suit will walk through, and while you're watching the ball, you don't even see the gorilla. We don't see anything when we're paying attention to something. So we're out at a playground, and we're watching our kid at the playground. We have no idea what all those other things are. So what does our brain do? Fills in the details. Are they accurate? Maybe, I don't know, some and some not, and we don't know we're doing it. Then there's neural delay. Neural delay is the time it takes between information coming at your brain and it actually processing into your brain. It's about 1/10 of a second, but considering it's happening constantly, that's a pretty remarkable amount of time. So your brain is constantly trying to guess what's gonna happen to make up for the delay. And if it isn't accurate, your brain just ignores what really happens because it doesn't want to be wrong. So we're down to about 1% of the things that we think we've seen, we've actually seen. And the brain just pops the rest in. So what do we actually know? We actually know very, very little. So if we go back to this picture, we know this person is sitting on the ground. We know this person has a phone and a watch. That's about it. Unless it's an inside that has grass and trees, which some places do, but odds are we've got outside. Cute little pedal pushers. That's about all we've got. Nice lipstick. What? Daytime or good lighting. Yep. And that's really all we've got. And so all the rest of the story we told ourselves about who this person is and what they're doing and how they personally identify in the world and who they're talking to or what they're looking at or how they feel, we made it all up. We made 99% of what we thought about this picture up. And it's not your fault because your brain does it whether you want it to or not. What we can do is be aware that we have the choice to remember constantly, I don't have all the information. I don't have all the information. I don't have all the information. Awareness number 2 is everybody doesn't think like me. I would totally wear that. I am aware that most of you don't think like me. This is okay. We walk around, because of the pattern recognition in our mind, we walk around thinking most people are pretty much like us. Pattern recognition is that same part of us that allows us to take individual, discrete bits of information and then make them general. Like, that guy cheated on me. Guys cheat. Yeah? Right? It can be helpful, as in you touch the hot stove and then you learn don't touch hot things. You know, it's what saved us from saber-toothed tigers back in the day. Bad kitty. Run. But it's really not helpful when we come up with things like everybody in a turban is a terrorist. People think that. There are people who think that because it's part of our brain's structure to take something specific and make it general. Now, the way we do it, that we don't know that we do it, is put the picture back up. She's happy. She's talking to somebody she cares about, or she's looking at something funny. Because if I looked like that, that's how I would be feeling. If I made that face, it would be because I felt happy. If I dressed like that and wore my hair like that and did my makeup like that, I would identify as she. If I was with my hand on my hair, it's because I'm surprised at how funny something is. That's how I would react. Maybe it's just really windy. We don't know. We don't know. What we do know is that even in a group that's as relatively homogenous as this, people do not see the world the same. People don't have the same biases. People don't have the same values. People don't have the same way of looking at the world. We came from different religions of origin. We came from different family structures. We came from different levels of education, different parts of the country or world. Just because I would feel a certain way doesn't mean anybody else would. And yet, how many times have you thought in your head, what kind of person would behave like that? Any reasonable person would know that what I meant was, but maybe not. Maybe not. Everybody doesn't think like me. And even in a group as homogenous as this, we bump into it every day around here. Who's ever assumed they knew what somebody was thinking when they were totally wildly wrong? Right? Extra, I need more limbs to put up in the air, right? Who's ever been absolutely blown away when they found out how wrong they were? Right? Now, we add that with the community intention to be radically inclusive. And that means inviting in more people from more kinds of places, from more ways of thinking, from more countries and religions of origin. And the likelihood of not having exactly the same perspective just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And part of being a community that decides that's who we are, that's what we want, we welcome everyone no matter what, means it's on us to be aware all the time. Not everybody thinks like me. I agree, yay! I pay her to cheer at the right times. Right? The third awareness that really insulates us against getting stuck in this assumption machine is it's okay to ask questions and clarify meanings. It's okay to ask questions and clarify meanings. Don Miguel Ruiz says that we make assumptions because we don't feel like it's safe to ask questions. We're afraid we'll learn something that we don't like, or we're afraid that an assumption that we do like will get overturned by what we learn. I am y'all's favorite minister you ever had. Yeah, I do not want to hear if that's not true. We've had some really amazing ministers. I feel confident that that's not entirely true. And yet, I would prefer to think that it's true. I mean, you know, we all have things we would prefer to think are true. We all have things that we would prefer to not hear if they're not true. I think there's more to it, though, than that we're afraid to ask questions. One is we don't like questions being asked of us. There is this tendency to get defensive if people want to clarify things. They should understand what I think. Don't they even know me? I mean, what kind of person do they think I am? Dude, they're trying to find out. Also, we don't ask questions because we don't know we need to. If we don't know our brain did that thing, right? We made an assumption. We think we know. We don't think there's anything to clarify. So my beloved co-minister, Karen, hi, see, she left town, so I get to talk about her. She's on a cruise. Hi, Karen. She's German, right? She grew up in Germany. She's lived here for a long time, but she grew up in Germany. And she, when she is listening to something, will sometimes go, It's a very good impression, yes. For years, this caused a problem between us. Because I made that mean, oh, you're stupid. I get it. You're an idiot. Any sane person would do that differently, is, what I'm hearing. Oh, she thinks that my idea is moronic. Okay. You know what it meant? It meant, that's it. That's the whole story. It meant here's my version, rewind, okay, she's talking. I go, anybody ever see me do this when we're talking? I'm listening. Oh, my Lord, the problems that were caused not by the but by the me making up what meant. And extrapolating everything about the conversation from and then taking it personally. Oh, she thinks she's better than me. It's just me, though, right? I'm the only one in the room that's ever had a problem from that? Yes. For those of you watching online, if you can't hear, there's a lot of giggling happening in the audience. Our audience mics don't always work, so I have to make sure they know I'm hilarious. When people come to us with questions, we don't need to get mad. We don't need to justify. Because when I actually went to Karen and said, "What's mean?" She's like, "What do you mean? What do you think it means?" And she got really justifiably irritated at the ridiculous story that I had invented over the Let's save ourselves from that. Let's save ourselves from being attacked when people ask us for clarification. And just know it's okay for us to ask. It's okay to get an answer that's not what we thought. We're not terrible people for assuming wrong. But we got to jump over that barrier and be willing to have a conversation that's messy sometimes, or we fear will be messy, in order to get past that place. If we are willing to know we don't have all the information, if we are willing to recognize that not everybody thinks like us, and that it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to offer up clarifying information, it's okay to do that. We are insulating ourselves against what our brain is trying to do to us and forcing us to make assumptions. And then, you know what we're insulated from? Taking personally something that isn't even true. Something that never even was true. Which, as we've learned, is the root of all the sadness and drama you ever had in your life. All the sadness and drama I've ever had in my life. Which is why we have our respectful communication policy. I feel like every time I give a talk, I talk about this policy. I didn't write it. It's kind of genius. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we have copies of it out on the ledge out front, and we'll also put it in the newsletter this month. And it's a series of steps of things that we can do to save ourselves from this kind of stuff. It talks about not gossiping, being impeccable with your word. It talks about asking for clarification, not guessing, not trying to know what we can't know. It talks about if it gets too scary on the inside to have a conversation that feels like it might be dangerous, because our bodies don't know the difference between I'm nervous about that person and there's a tiger attacking me. Stress is stress. You can come to myself, you can come to Reverend Karen. We can have a facilitated conversation with people in the room to help calm it all down so all the information can get out into the room and we can figure out where the assumptions screwed us up so we can get back to the truth. And the only truth that matters in a community like this is that we love each other, we love this center, and we want this to be a place where everybody feels safe and welcomed and wanted. And that is what we're here to do. So let's take that into prayer. Sinking into that space where there is only the one, Only the one, God Almighty, infinite Spirit, the one mind, the truth of all life. And what I know right here, right now, for myself and for everyone within the sound of my voice, is that that perfect Spirit is the only thing that there is. It's the only thing that there is. At the center of each of our beingness is pure love, absolute perfection, absolute willingness to know and see the profound divine truth that transcends any ideas, any happenings, any activities. I know that the wisdom of the one rises up within each one of us, bringing us to a new level of personal awareness, of personal choice, of personal power, so that right where we are, all is well. Spirit is making itself known. And every beloved that crosses our path is surrounded in an air of absolute and complete acceptance and trust, so that they can each become their highest and best selves, just as we are becoming our highest and best selves, as the God within makes itself known, shines brighter than any confusion, melts away any doubt, and allows us to be the divine people that we really are. I call it good. I know it is so. And so it is.